Here we go. All right, I think we're ready. All right, yo, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Renegade Roundtable podcast. Here, I am Jeffrey Kirby. As you can see, we have Jarryd with us. Jarryd, how the hell are you?
Doing all right. Good to be back.
As you can see, we also have a couple more guests. If you were around for our mock draft 1.0, then you will recognize aka Herb and Hunter. Herb and Hunter, how the hell are you guys doing?
What's up?
What's up, y'all?
Trying to get some late adjustments to this camera.
Yeah, that's what happens. But yeah, we are here. We are live, and it is going to be a blast. Obviously, we are going to be revealing our mock draft 2.0s. We were going to have someone else with us, aka Hunter's little brother Parker, who will be on with us for the NFL draft show next Thursday. However, things popped up. He couldn't make it with us, but he will be with us here next week. But yeah, boys, let's have some fun.
The 14-year-old had a baseball scrimmage tonight, so kind of inconvenient, but hey. So
Unfortunate.
yeah.
Let's do this, Jeff.
All right, let's do this. So we will start off. I think we'll start off how we did last time. We started off with last time it went Hunter, Herb, Jarryd, and myself last. Do we want to keep it that way, or do we want to flip flop and rotate?
Don't care.
I don't care, honestly.
All right. You know what?
No,
I'll
I'll go first again.
All right, Hunter, you could go ahead. You started off with the first pick, the Carolina Panthers.
Well, in my mock, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers selecting number 1. And then after that, after the Steelers acquire number 1, they are going to be trading the Steelers are going to be trading the first pick to the Cleveland Browns. And they're also going to be trading half their roster and the rights to the city. So, with the first pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, I have the Carolina Panthers selecting Bryce Young, the quarterback from Alabama. I know we've seen a lot of C.J. Stroud smoke over the last couple of weeks, but I think lately, it's really picked up on the Bryce Young front. This kind of reminds me of the 2018 NFL Draft when the Browns had the first pick and selected Baker Mayfield. There was smoke about Baker, Sam Darnold. There was even a little about Josh Allen, don't remind me. But when you look at this here, I think Bryce Young is the guy the Panthers have wanted all along. I think the ownership, I think that's who they want. I think Frank Reich and Josh McCown, I think they want C.J. Stroud. But at the end of the day, I think the ownership overrules it, and I think Bryce Young goes number 1 here to Carolina.
Interesting.
All right. I, as well, have Bryce Young to the Carolina Panthers. I was a firm believer of that C.J. Stroud smoke. I even placed a bet that he was going to go number 1, and don't think I'm going to end up winning that. But it just seems like the perfect fit. If he doesn't go here, he obviously go to the Texans. But this decides, in my opinion, what Houston goes it to. If Bryce Young goes 1, I honestly don't see Houston going quarterback. But, yeah, I have Bryce Young here as well.
I am standing firm with C.J. Stroud going number 1. I think all of this bullshit coming around the last couple of weeks with Bryce Young out of nowhere, I just think it's BS. They like C.J. Stroud more, personally.
All right. So for me, I'm going to stick with like what Herb and Hunter said. I think I'm going to go with Bryce Young here. Now, obviously, there could very well be smokescreen, and they end up going with C.J. Stroud. But for me, for now, I'm going to stick with Bryce Young, and we'll see how this goes. They need a quarterback of the future, and they get their guy.
I like it.
All right, number 2, the Houston Texans.
Yeah, so with the second pick in the draft, I have the Houston Texans taking Will Anderson, the edge rusher out of Alabama. So here's the thing. I think Herb was the one that said it. With Bryce Young going number 1 here, I don't think the Houston Texans are going to take a quarterback. I think Bryce Young is their guy, and I don't think they're completely sold on C.J. Stroud. When you look at this Texans team, I think with a DeMeco Ryans-led defense now, I think Will Anderson is going to come in and fit like a glove, and he is going to, take over shit. Now, when you look at this, I think the Texans kind of look at this from multiple ways. I think what I do think Houston's going to end up doing, and this is kind of my bold prediction right here, I do think Houston possibly could end up trading for Trey Lance. I think that might be in the cards for them, especially with how cheap he's projected to be going for now. But I think Will Anderson is arguably the best player in the draft, and I think that's what Houston's going to do here at 2 is just take the best player, in their opinion, available, and I think that's why Will Anderson goes here at number 2.
I agree. I also have Will Anderson here at number 2. With the Texans organization, with D'Amico Ryan there as head coach now, they are not in a situation where they have to take a quarterback this year. They can, obviously, no team is ever going to admit that they're going to try to tank, but you obviously have Caleb Williams next year coming out of USC. You have a bunch of other quarterbacks that I think are a lot better than this draft class. So they don't have their hands tied behind their back. They're not forced to go quarterback here. Will Anderson, in my opinion, is the best player in this draft. Why not take him at number 2 while he's still there and get an absolute monster at the edge position?
Interesting. Well, I took the quarterback Bryce Young going to the Texans here. I think it'd be the perfect fit in this scenario, in my scenario, if it happens. What I think it's going to happen, I just think recently, I don't know if you guys noticed in the past, like recently, starting more news pop up about who's going number 1 and number 2. Could be like smoke string right when the draft starts. It could happen going, like you guys said, Bryce Young, then CJ, or not even CJ, go Will Anderson. I just think for me, I think it's just all smoke screen. It just came out of nowhere, personally. 2 weeks before the draft, you don't think it's kind of weird?
I agree. Yeah,
it's absolutely.
Yeah.
But again, real quick, like you said, this is basically, I forget, it was Philadelphia. I think it was Howie Roseman. He said this is basically one big-ass game of poker. So you never – that's the thing about this is you never know what is legit.
The Pittsburgh Steelers suck at poker then.
Okay.
I mean, he's got a point. I think the past 2 drafts, everybody's known who we're going to go in and take. With Najee Harris 2 years ago and a quarterback last year.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys seen that report that's come out the last couple of days about CJ Stroud, about the Manning Passing Academy?
A little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Not really. If you could.
Yeah. I'm doing my show.
And we are live.
Roommate. This is what happens when you live with 4 other people.
No.
But yeah,
hey, all of Hunter's roommates, shut the hell up. We're doing something.
Don't tell Noah. That was Noah.
But anyways, I think it's all smokescreen personally. 2 weeks before the draft, things can happen as always. It's like you said, Kirby. It's a poker game. It's all a poker game.
Absolutely.
And for me, I do think that they are playing poker with us, and I do think they go with CJ Stroud here. They get the quarterback of their future. When you look at that division, Tennessee, we'll see. Some of us might have them mocking to go with a quarterback trade up, whether they trade up or stay at 11. They might go with the quarterback there. Jacksonville, they're on the rise. They have the quarterback of their future. You have Indianapolis Colts, who within either the next pick or the next 2 picks will have their most likely get their quarterback. So if you're Houston, like I think it was it was either Herb or Hunter said you don't have to go with a quarterback here. My thing is, unless you are really feeling like you want to go with a quarterback next year, if you're going to be a part of that Caleb Williams, Drake May sweepstakes, I think you need to go for your quarterback. And if you could go after CJ Stroud, who is a guy that is going to be very accurate with the football, why not?
Yeah, that's fair. You're wrong, but that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, as long as he's not going up against a Michigan defense, he'll be accurate.
So
here we go.
Game, so
here he goes.
Also, Derpy, what's up? And Cam said, "Damn it, Six, leave him alone."
That's crazy. My boy Cam, he just snapped me a picture of him watching too.
I appreciate you, Cam.
Number 3 now.
We are at pick number 3.
Oh my God, you guys are going to love this one.
So is this the pick you were telling me about?
This is the pick I was telling you about.
Okay.
I have the Arizona Cardinals trading out of number 3. I have the Minnesota Vikings trading up to number 3 right here in a stunner. And I have the Minnesota Vikings taking Anthony Richardson, the quarterback from Florida. Now, before I've seen everyone's eyes. I saw you guys were looking at me, but let's take a look at this for a second. Is Kirk Cousins, is he the quarterback of the future? No. Kirk Cousins isn't. No. So why not go out and get the quarterback in the draft that has the best physical tools? I mean, I think Anthony Richardson's going to be a stud. I'm sorry, I do. Maybe sit behind Kirk Cousins for a year. Come in, and see, this is just getting me excited. I mean, can you imagine Anthony Richardson throwing the ball to Justin Jefferson? I mean, I just feel like it's in the cards for Minnesota. I've seen plenty of mocks where they stay at where they're at 24, 25, and they take Hendon Hooker, because he ends up being the last one. That's stupid to me. I'm sorry, that's dumb. If you're going to pick a quarterback in the first round, you play all your cards and you trade up and you get the guy you want, whether that's with Houston at number 2 or with Arizona at number 3. So in a stunner here, do I think this is going to happen? Probably not, but would I love for it to happen? Absolutely. So my pick is Anthony Richardson at number 3 here to Minnesota.
All right, we have the same idea. I have same trade, same pick, different team.
Dude, no way. Oh, okay.
I have Vegas trading up to pick Anthony Richardson at 3 to sit behind Jimmy Garoppolo for a year. Now, I get CJ Stroud is still on the board, but I think Vegas really they signed Jimmy Garoppolo to a 1-year healthy contract, and I see your face, Kirby. I know there's been talks about Vegas not trading up, but I don't see them trading up for a guy like Will Levis. But if Anthony Richardson is still on the board, my opinion, I think he's the number 2 quarterback on this draft. I think he's got better talent. He's got a better athleticism, better arm strength than CJ Stroud. I think all 3 of those are light years away from Will Levis, but I think Anthony Richardson goes here. I definitely think there's going to be a team that trades up, and I've got Vegas.
All right. Jarryd, hold on real quick. Jarryd, go ahead, Hunter.
I knew it.
I was saying, if Herb keeps bashing CJ Stroud, I'm gonna have to take a sip of whatever's in Jeff's water bottle over there.
I actually have CJ Stroud as my 4th quarterback off the board.
Oh my gosh!
You want to talk about haterism? Here we go.
Are you saying is this your real draft?
I told you this one is gonna be crazy.
It's okay. If McCarthy was coming out, he'd be number 1 overall to Herb.
Jeez.
Now you'll have to hear me out when Will Levis comes and picks.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
so like the
real quick, hold on, Jarryd. Before you go, I want to talk about what Herb said, because me and Jarryd have had this conversation on a couple of occasions where Jarryd's tried to talk me into the Raiders trying to go after a quarterback. The reason why I don't buy into that is when you look at their roster. To me, when you sign Jimmy Garoppolo to the contract that you have, it was like 3 years, only for what, $24 million a year. When you have I understand that Kansas City is Kansas City, but that is the perfect time to really try and build and add to your group, to your team. So it's like, to me, I would rather them go after someone else that's going to be a bigger need for them and help them play day one and try to make a push at possibly going after Kansas City in that division. I don't know. There's just something about that I can't buy into.
Did you guys just get that Bleacher Report notification?
No.
I did not.
Texans not sold on quarterback at number 2. There's increasing speculation that Houston will draft the best defensive player.
There's no way.
So something is going to tell me that's good. Now, I don't know. I could end up looking stupid here.
Fine. Hey, Jeff, if Houston drafts defensive player at number 2, I am coming home to Elyria. I am driving you to your McDonald's that you work at, and you will make me a Big Mac for free.
Thank you for just putting out all information like that. Thank you very much.
Jeff, everyone knows you work at McDonald's. Go.
Well,
is Jarryd up? Is Jarryd up now?
Yeah, I am. I do have the Cardinals trading this pick, not to the Raiders, not to the Vikings, but to the Colts for Anthony Richardson. Easy enough said. They need a quarterback. I think, if he's there at 3, they're definitely going to trade up. There's other teams are going to fight for, like Vegas, maybe Minnesota, Tennessee, but the Colts secure their quarterback for the future.
And I'm 100% with Jarryd on this. That's exactly what I had them doing, is trading the Indianapolis going up one spot to protect their position to go after a quarterback, and that's going to be Anthony Richardson here. Because the reason why I feel like that's the case is because, I mean, like you could say, between Hunter saying that possibly Minnesota or Herb saying it could be Las Vegas, you got to – those are two teams, and then Jarryd mentioned the third team in Tennessee. Those are three teams that could possibly trade up to that third spot to go after a quarterback. So if you're Indianapolis, you got to do what you got to do. Trade up at the one spot. You protect your position. You get the quarterback of your future. And it's going to be fun to see what happens with that offense. I mean, we'll see. But
oh, man.
We shall see. All right, number 4. I can't even say what team because we all have different teams at number 4.
Yeah, so at number 4, I still have the Indianapolis Colts at number 4, and this scenario is perfect for them. They don't have to move up at all, then they still end up with the guy they want. I have them at number 4, taking the best quarterback in college football, C.J. Stroud from the Ohio State University. Again, I think Jim Irsay, I think the Colts love C.J. Stroud, and again, like I said, this is the ideal scenario for them. They don't have to trade up a spot or 2 or even up to number 1 to get the guy they want. It kind of just falls into their laps. And, yeah, I love C.J. Stroud. I think he's going to thrive in Indianapolis if he goes there. So C.J. Stroud's the pick here. It rounds off 3 quarterbacks in the first 4 picks for me.
And I also have a quarterback here going to Indianapolis at number 4.
For anybody – I swear.
You were actually doing this.
That watches a podcast with, I forget his fucking name, but it's a running meme on his podcast. Will Levis, you are an Indianapolis Colt. I have Will Levis going to Indianapolis because I truly think, don't get me wrong, I think C.J. Stroud is better than Will Levis, but I believe that Indy will make the terrible decision of picking Will Levis over C.J. Stroud. I think it's too just the Will Levis in Indianapolis, the make and mold of everything. They just sound like a married couple. They sound like they belong together. They look like they belong together. It's just a perfect match. But like I said, I think C.J. Stroud is better than Will Levis. But honestly, I'm willing to say is probably 100% sold in my mind that Will Levis will be a Colt.
Tell me you're a Michigan Wolverine fan without telling me you're a Michigan Wolverine fan right away.
No, Herb definitely puts mayonnaise in his coffee too.
Oh hell no! I forgot he did that.
Yeah,
just for that, he's out of the first round.
Yeah, I gotta redo this mock real quick.
Yikes! Wow, Will Levis. Jeez, I can't. Okay, I still have the Cardinals here. They're taking Will Anderson, the best, defensive player, probably player in the draft personally overall. Helps out the Cardinals. They got some draft picks for the future. Helps out.
I agree with Jarryd as well. I have them going with Will Anderson here. Now, like you said, he is the best defensive player in this draft. You look at that defensive line. Zach Allen, J.J. Watt. They're all J.J. Watt retiring, Zach Allen being gone. That defensive line is not looking that good right now. However, when you look at Will Anderson, you wonder, because they run a 4-3 defense. Are they going to be able – is he going to be able to play that 4-3 defensive end position, or what are you going to have him do? You're going to play the Sam or the Will. What are you going to do with that? So, for me, the fit is a little weird, but when you look at Arizona, you have to go after a defensive player, and something tells me they're not going to go after Jalen Carter or even Tyree Wilson, which that could be a very well possibility because he's more of that 4-3 defensive end. But you can't pass up on Will Anderson if you're Arizona. You just simply cannot. All right, number 5, the Seattle Seahawks.
All right, so with the 5th pick, I have the Seattle Seahawks drafting Tyree Wilson, the edge rusher from Texas Tech. I know what you guys are all thinking. What, Jalen Carter? I think Jalen Carter is going to slide a little bit. So you go with the next best defensive player available. I think Tyree Wilson is another one of those guys who kind of, built his draft stock up, and he's going to be one of those guys. He's going to be in a top 5 pick to me. I think he's going to be a top 10 solidified at least. I'm a big Tyree Wilson guy, and if he's going to succeed anywhere, I love him in Seattle. So yeah, I think Tyree Wilson's the pick here, and I think the Jalen Carter slide kind of continues.
All right. I don't personally think the Jalen Carter slide continues. I have him going here to Seattle.
So.
Like I said on last draft episode that we had, if there's any team that's going to take a person that's got a troubled past and history of legal issues, it's going to be Seattle. They take it. It's Pete Carroll is not going to be bothered by character issues by players. He's going to take the best player available, and he's going to go with whoever he can. And I think he takes Jalen Carter here to bolster up that defensive line and really help Seattle's defense.
Man, I've had the tough decision between Tyree Wilson and Jalen Carter. I went with Tyree Wilson. Everything what Hunter just said. I think Jalen Carter will slide, but not majorly slide, personally. I think he's the better edge the next best defensive player for that team. Definitely, you need to help bolster that D line. It's not the greatest.
And I also have to agree. I have the Seattle Seahawks going with Tyree Wilson here. And I thought about the Jalen Carter thing, like you guys said, Pete Carroll's not afraid of taking a character problem. He did that with Bruce Irvin coming out of West Virginia. He had character issues, and they didn't matter to him. But in terms of Tyree Wilson is the real deal. He is going to be an absolute beast. But it's ironic because, like I just mentioned with Arizona and Will Anderson, it's kind of the same exact thing with Tyree Wilson, and because they run a base 3-4. Is he going to play that defensive end in a 3-man front? We'll see. But I just think that this has Tyree Wilson written all over. So
I bet you $20 he sucks, Jeff.
Oh
no, I'm just kidding. I think Tyree Wilson's going to be really good.
Jeez, already.
And on top of that, you add in Draymond Jones as well into that. So now, and then Jarryd Reed, who's 30.
Dog, for a second, I thought you were going to say Draymond Green.
No, I thought so too.
No, he will not be playing because his dumbass wanted to go and Dominican Sue.
I can't believe they're going to be down 3-0 tonight.
Yeah,
it's going to be insane. It's going to be great to watch too. Which, by the way, imagine your basketball team not being in the playoffs right now. Could it be?
I knew it was coming. Haha, Jerry.
Could it be me, Herb, or Hunter?
Go Cavs.
We'll be there next year.
Go Cavs. All right, number 6, the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, so with the 6th pick, I have the Detroit Lions taking Christian Gonzalez, the corner from Oregon. I thought the Lions were going to go corner with this pick originally, and then I think them trading Ohio State great Jeff Okudah just kind of solidified that. Look, man, I love the Detroit Lions. I think the Detroit Lions are going to be a playoff team next year. And I think they're going to be a very good team. But the next step is kind of revamping that secondary and getting them even better. And I think Christian Gonzalez is the best corner in the draft. So I think this is kind of an easy pick for Detroit here. Christian Gonzalez is going to be a stud. So I think this is going to be a great pick for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
I also have corner going here for Detroit, but I have them taking the best corner in the draft. Devon, I'm just kidding. The best, I do have him picking Devon Witherspoon, but he's not the best corner in the draft, in my opinion. I like Christian Gonzalez more. I just think a lot more NFL teams are going to like Devon Witherspoon's build, his size, his speed, or not. I guess not so much his speed, but his ability to play corner better. I get he had some issues with. He didn't do anything at the combine. He didn't run anything as pro day. Pushed that back and had a self pro day. And from what I heard, he did decently well. I think he will be the first cornerback off the board. I also think that this is another 100% pick for Detroit here. I think they go corner, whether it is Christian Gonzalez, Devon Witherspoon. It's going to be one of those two guys. They have to, like you said, they just traded away Jeff Okudah. They've got to bolster up that defense and get somebody's on those outside to cover those wide receivers.
I went with Jalen Carter going to the Detroit Lions. I know they traded Jeff Okudah away. I think with the signing of their free agency, I think they're going to roll with it personally. And next to I'm forgetting his name right now. Aiden Hutchinson, former Michigan Wolverine player. But I think that's going to be a nasty D line with him and Hutchinson next to each other. I just think that it's the best player available personally with his talent. Even though it didn't have a good pro day, I still think Jalen Carter, no matter what, a great player. He's going to be a stud.
I like that pick.
I do too, but I did not go with that. I went with Christian Gonzalez as well.
Your pick sucks. Oh, well, we have the same pick.
So your pick sucks too. Great. Thank you for letting us know your pick sucks too. No, but I also thought about Devin Witherspoon as well. But Christian Gonzalez he's cornerback 1. You lost Mike Hughes. You lost Amani Warrior to the Giants, and you traded away Jeff Okuda. That's 3 corners. That smells you're going to need to take a corner, and you have that second first-round pick. So a defensive tackle, if you wanted to go that route like what Jarryd's doing, you could go after a defensive tackle at 18 if you wanted. So to right now, you go after the best corner in this draft and you bolster that secondary as much as you can, because the other corner that you have starting outside of Cam Sutton right now is a 7th-round pick from last year. So, yeah, go after the best corner in this draft and help your secondary out.
Well, if they were going after the best cornerback in this draft, they'd take DJ Turner. But, I mean, that's just me.
Here we go.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, Herb, you're starting to work over there.
This is what happens when Ohio State fans and Michigan fans do a podcast together. What in the hell?
My goodness.
All right. Number 7.
Yeah, so at number 7, I have the Las Vegas Raiders taking Devin Witherspoon here. I think they're kind of in a similar situation as the Lions with their secondary, and whoever goes first between Witherspoon and Gonzalez, I think the Raiders will take the latter. So, yeah, in this case, it's Devin Witherspoon or Devin Witherspoon. I don't know. Is it Devin or Devin?
I'll go with Devin, personally.
Okay.
Yeah, I swapped back and forth. I wasn't sure either.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know either. So, yeah, Devin Witherspoon is the pick here. Yeah, I think it's kind of a – yeah, I think Devin Witherspoon.
Here at 7, I have Arizona, and I have them taking Tyree Wilson, edge out of Texas Tech. Like you said earlier, Kirby, I think he's a better player for this defensive scheme. I think Will Anderson is the best player in the draft. Don't get me wrong, but I think Tyree Wilson fits this defensive scheme a lot better, and he's able to hit that defensive line. The whole defensive general in Arizona has a lot of holes, and starting with the edge rusher in the first round definitely will help them out. It's that defensive line really needs the help the most. Like, they lost Byron Murphy at corner, so they need to hit that. But this defense really needs some oomph, and I think Tyree Wilson can give them to him.
Well, I am going to agree with Hunter here. I took Devin Witherspoon as well. Basically explained everything that he said. You know, great fit. I was thinking quarterback, maybe Will Levis here, but it's not. I don't think it's going to happen now. As much as, you know, I clown on Kirby every time saying it's possible.
Well, I also agree. I do think it's going to be Devin Witherspoon here. Now, I actually did contemplate going offensive tackle here, but I didn't. I ended up going with Devin Witherspoon here. I also think if, for some odd reason, if Tyree Wilson is here, that he'll end up a Las Vegas Raider. Even someone like Lucas Van Ness or someone like that could be a possibility here. But I think with the firepower in the AFC West, you need to cover as much as you can. And the corners that they have right now, your 2 starting corners are Nate Hobbs and Duke Shelley, who's going to be a free agent at the end of the year.
That's not a hell of a group if I've ever seen one.
And those are not household names. So clearly,
Damon Arnett.
Yeah.
Yeah. What college did he come out of? What college?
The Ohio State University.
Yeah.
Listen, I remember when we were all doing our draft show that year, and when the Raiders took Damon Arnett, we're all kind of like, huh? Wait a minute, huh?
Dude, I remember that. We were all just like, what? But hey,
yeah, we were all shocked. But no, yeah, they need to go after a corner here, and that's exactly what they get here. So, number 8. And Justin says Arizona has one of the best defenses in the league.
Jesus.
Oh, I love Justin. With the 8th pick, same as my first mock. I have the Atlanta Falcons taking Nolan Smith. I think Nolan Smith is one of the guys who's kind of improved his draft stock the most since the combine. I mean, this kid's an athletic freak. Sure, he's a little bit undersized for an edge rusher, but I mean, come on. I mean, the physical tools, make up for it. I mean, he's fast. I mean, he's probably one of the fastest edge rushers we've seen maybe ever. I mean, I think he's going to be an incredible talent, and he doesn't even have to move out of the state. I have Nolan Smith going here at 8 to the Atlanta Falcons.
All right, at number 8, I have a trade. I have Atlanta trading back with the Houston Texans. Earlier I said Houston didn't have to tie their arm behind their back to pick a quarterback, but I think here, since he's sliding, they pick him. I have Houston at 8 going CJ Stroud out of Ohio State. I have Stroud. I personally believe one of these 4 quarterbacks will fall. Whether that's Stroud, Levis, or Richardson, I think one of them is going to fall. I don't think it'll be far, but I think they will fall.
Herb,
I think we know one. It's going to be Levis.
Bro, Herb,
it's going to be Levis.
If CJ Stroud falls to 8, I will buy you dinner. No, I'm so serious. Like, that is crazy. Did JJ McCarthy go already?
JJ went number 1. He was over Bryce Young.
No, he didn't go number 1. He went 0.5. Gosh.
Well,
Jarryd.
I guess I'm with Hunter again with this pick. I also went with Nolan Smith. The edge.
Dude, you copied Dane Brugler's mock draft too? No,
I ain't copying. I was like, who?
No. The GOAT.
But no, I went with Nolan Smith. His draft stock definitely did improve the most since the combine. He's been going all over the place, either from the top 10 above to like the mid 20s. He can go anywhere personally, but I think he'll be up there in the top 10 with all those, the team's very interested in him, how fast he did from the combine for sure.
I went with Myles Murphy here. Now,
okay.
So we all, I think, had them going, well, outside of, her, because good Lord.
I told you guys there was a lot of surprises in this.
But to me, I went with Myles Murphy here, like I said. Now, obviously, Lucas Van Ness or even Nolan Smith. Now, Nolan Smith would be a scheme fit here. But I just went with, in my opinion, the next best edge rusher, Myles Murphy. And you got a defense that added Jeff Okudah. You got Jesse Bates. You added Calais Campbell for a year. You got Lorenzo Carter, who's going to end up being a rotational player for them. They were 31st in sacks last year. So what does that mean? You need to help out your defensive line, and that's exactly what they do here.
Myles Murphy's all over the place. All over the place.
Yeah,
he really is. Yeah.
I want to touch back on copying mock drafts. Did any of you guys see Todd McShay and Mel Kiper's mock draft?
Listen, Mel Kiper's mock drafts are like, they make me feel like I'm on acid or something sometimes.
Zay Flowers to Pittsburgh.
That
17.
Here's the thing, and I'm going to be honest, that's not realistic, but God, I love that pick if that was happening for you guys. I would love that pick for you. I'm so high on Zay Flowers. I think Zay Flowers is going to be...
Well, Herb would be very upset because it's not Jordan Addison because he's a part of that.
Listen, I'm no longer on the Jordan Addison train. After adding A-Rob, I'm no longer on that Jordan Addison
by the way, here, we're going to stop for a quick second because, damn it, we are still a Pittsburgh-themed sports show here.
Oh, my God.
So, real quick, yay, or what are your guys' grades on the Allen Robinson trade?
I'm going to crack open a cold. I think
it's an A.
One.
It's a B+ for me.
They did hardly had to do anything to get him. You swapped 7-round picks. You basically signed him to a $5 million deal for 1 year. And if he sucks, you ain't got to pay him anything next year. Mm-hmm. If he does great, you rework that contract to see if you can get him lowered.
Yep, that's true. And it's a vet receiver,
right.
In that wide receiver room. Yes, Hunter.
Am I allowed to give my grade too?
Go ahead.
So me personally, I give the Steelers an F-.
I know.
Realistically, I give the Steelers a B+ for this pick, for this trade. To be honest with you, the only reason why it's not an A is because of Allen Robinson's production last year. He wasn't very productive for the Rams. But here's the thing, like you guys said, it's a low risk, high reward move. I love Allen Robinson. I have loved Allen Robinson for years. I love this move for you guys. When I saw it happen the other day, I was hoping it was Barry McCockiner on Twitter, and not the real account. But no, I mean that's the thing. Like Jarryd just said, you know, you don't have to pay him after this year, or maybe Herb said it. You don't have to pay him after this year. You know, if he shits the bed. But I mean, if Allen Robinson can be healthy and play like he did a couple years ago, and he's only 29. Then, I mean, I think this could be a very, very good move. And like I said, at worst, you get Kenny Pickett another weapon.
Matt Canavera call some fucking plays. That's why
is Kenny Pickett the second best quarterback A-Rob's had? I mean, after Matt Stafford, he had a rookie Justin Fields, Blake Bortles.
Ooh. Hey, watch Blake Bortles. That's
You're
AFC
right.
Title
that
game.
AFC, yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Almost beat Tom Brady, Blake Bortles.
Okay.
All right. So we are on to number 9.
Okay. All right. So I have a trade at number 9, and you guys are gonna owe me a cold one after this one. With the 9th pick, I have the Chicago Bears trading it to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And with the 9th pick, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers taking Jalen Carter, the defensive tackle from Georgia. Now, did I want to do this? No, I absolutely did not. But here's the thing. And yes, I'm a Browns fan, but since Jeff is one of my best friends in the whole world, I do keep up with the Steelers a lot. And here's the thing. You guys have made some moves this offseason, some solid moves. But I don't think the biggest one has come yet. And here's the thing. I think this is the move we've all been waiting for. Just imagining a D-line of Jalen Carter and TJ Watt just kind of pisses me off.
With Cam
when
Hayward?
you look at it, I think Cam Hayward, I mean, that's a D-line that is going to scare the hell out of NFL quarterbacks unless your name is Deshaun Watson. So when you look at it, because nothing scares Deshaun Watson besides, never mind. Anyways, so when you look at this move, this is the Steelers. I mean, as you know, the Steelers don't have really a history of trading up. You know, besides, I think the last time they traded up was Devin Bush.
They've only done it like 3 times in the last like 20 years. They did it for Troy Polamalu, they did it for Santonio Holmes, and they did it for Devin Bush.
Yeah.
Thanks for the quick history lesson, Jeff.
No problem.
No, just kidding. But here's the thing. I said this earlier. Jalen Carter is sliding, okay? And he's here at 9. I could see the Pittsburgh Steelers saying, well, this guy is arguably the best player in the draft. Let's trade up 8 spots to go get him and bolster our D-line. I think Jarrod's having a wet dream over there.
I
love
and hate it.
You guys are gonna owe me a beer after this. I do have Jalen Carter going 9 to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I have Chicago staying pat. I believe all the Steelers trade rumors for number 9 to go up to get Jalen Carter or Paris Johnson is all a smokescreen. I have Chicago taking Peter Skoronski here at tackle for Northwestern. I think they'll slide him to guard. They need an offensive lineman to cover for Justin Fields, and I think Peter Skoronski, if he came in as a guard, I think he's the best offensive lineman on the board. But since he's technically a tackle in the draft, I don't really have him rated as high as he really is. But I think Chicago takes Peter Skoronski here and slides him over to guard.
Oh, I agree with Herb here. I have him taking Peter Skoronski as well. I just want to go back to that trade real quick.
Here we go.
What really made you think that? Man, I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think. No way.
I just gave you hope there. I just gave you hope.
Yes, you did, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
Because that's exactly what I was trying to do. So you dreamed.
It's not gonna happen. I know it's not gonna happen, but Jalen Carter.
No, Jarryd.
It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna. I
Buddy,
hate.
It's gonna happen.
I hate the trade rumors. I hate trading up now because everyone made fun of me of Devin Bush. It was a good trade, but now look at him now. He's not.
Oh, I get it. Anymore. I was on that Devin Bush hype train. I
was too.
Preaching it for weeks in advance.
Herb is very understandable,
I mean,
I don't want I don't want another failure, man. I'm sorry.
I mean, to be fair, if Devin Bush didn't get hurt, I mean,
it's true, but
yeah,
I don't want another risk unless they're trading like we did to the Denver that year. I wouldn't be upset because the compensation when we traded for Bush wasn't that bad at all, personally. Because you only gave up a third next year. I'm pretty sure. I think it was a second or third next year that we gave up.
I think it was our first, and then the third in that draft, and I think a third in the next year.
Next year, and that was fine with me. But we'll see what happens. I don't even want to think about it anymore.
All right. So I also have them going with Peter Skoronski here, staying with Chicago. Now, like I said, I wouldn't rule out the idea of a trade, but right now I'm kind of leaning towards that. It's not going to happen. When you look at that offensive line, right now their starting left tackle is a 5th-round pick in Braxton Jones, and their left guard, since we're talking about he could possibly move over to guard, is 30-year-old Cody Whitehair. So clearly they need to help booster that offensive line as much as they can, and obviously they just looking at that offensive line is really not that great. So you need a booster as much as you can. And now Jalen Carter maybe could go here, maybe, but I don't think so. I think they want to protect their quarterback and they go after Peter Skoronski. All right, number 10.
Yeah, so with the 10th pick, I have another trade. I have the Philadelphia Eagles trading the 10th pick to the Cleveland Browns.
And
with the 10th pick, I have the Cleveland Browns taking Bijan Robinson. And I have Bijan Robinson and Nick Chubb becoming the best backfield of all time. No, I'm just kidding. With the 10th pick, I have the Philadelphia Eagles taking Peter Skoronski. I kind of feel the same way as Herb. I have, Skoronski moving inside. Especially after losing Isaac Seumalo, whatever his name is, to Pittsburgh. And their other guard is 35 years old and just getting older. So, I don't refer to them by their name because they lost my parlay for the Super Bowl. But, I have Peter Skoronski here for the Eagles. I kind of was going back and forth with Bijan Robinson going here. But I kind of determined it was a little too early for him. So I have Skoronski's the pick here.
Yeah, here for Philly. You guys ready? This is probably the most craziest one. For Philly, I have them taking Hendon Hooker. I think the whole Jalen Hurts signing is a smokescreen. I have them trading him mid-season and having him. I'm kidding. I have them going Kalaji Kancey out of Pittsburgh.
Even then.
I dug into my Mel Kiper bag a little bit and put Kancey at number 10. I think he's really helping draft stock as well, just like Nolan.
He was selling it for a second. Oh my god! I was like,
welcome to the Renegade Roundtable mock draft show.
I thought I was like, did Herb do something before on the show tonight? Like,
I mean, it is a certain day, It is 420. So.
Oh my gosh!
Oh wow. Man!
I have them going Kalaji Kancey. Yep.
I went with the luxury pick. I went them going with Bijan Robinson. The best running back in the draft. Just fits in that backfield. I thought about going offensive line here, but Skoronski was gone. They could use a tackle, but I decided just go with the luxury pick. I say a new toy for the Eagles. They're already a really good team.
I went with Jalen Carter here. The Jalen Carter slide ends at Philadelphia number 10. You look at that defensive line. Fletcher Cox is 32 years old. He's on a 1-year deal. You re-sign Brandon Graham to a 1-year deal. He's 35 years old. Your defensive line is not getting any younger. You have Jordan Davis. And for now, when you look at this, what is the pressure that affects the quarterbacks the most? Interior pressure. So why not get yourself arguably the best you can make the argument the best defensive player in this draft and have him rotate in there with Fletcher Cox and Jordan Davis and then have him play for years to come. Holy shit.
Holy shit.
shit.
Interesting.
All right. So with the 11th pick, I have the Tennessee Titans. I have them taking Miles Murphy, the edge rusher from Clemson. We just saw the Titans extend Jeffrey Simmons to that big deal. Now I see them bolstering their D-line even more and adding arguably probably the best edge rusher available in Miles Murphy. I love this pick for Tennessee. I think there's other ways they could go with this pick. But I think Miles Murphy, they go best player available, and I think it's Miles Murphy right now for them.
Here at 11, I have Tennessee going with offensive lineman tackle Paris Johnson Jr. out of Ohio State. He's my top tackle on the board. Oh, hey, thanks. Sorry, they brought me some water. Love you. And all the animals are in here. All right, so yeah, I have them going Paris Johnson Jr. tackle out of Ohio State. I'd love to have him in Pittsburgh. As much as I hate Ohio State, I don't care what the hell logo is on his chest. Paris Johnson Jr. is a beast. He would be fantastic at left tackle, right tackle, doesn't matter where. I think he's out of the first round, out of all the tackles, I think he's the only true left tackle out of the first round. And I truly believe he's the best one. Have him here at Tennessee. Sucks to see him go this high. Was hoping he might slide to 17, but that's where I have him going.
Sorry, I was asking my imaginary girlfriend if she'd get me some water too. I guess she can't though, so sorry.
Well, Herb, I do agree. Well, Herb, I do agree with you here. I did also went Paris Johnson. I would love to see him slide with those little rumors coming that Paris Johnson could slide down there to 17. Man, if he does, we're coming. That's all I can say. We're coming.
Pause.
Okay, chill out.
But
I think the future left tackle for the Titans for sure. It's definitely that Taylor Lewan replacement.
Jarrod's favorite player, Taylor Lewan, by the way.
And he's not coming to Pittsburgh.
Man, it pains me so much to hear that an Ohio State guy is replacing a Michigan guy.
For me,
that's what we do.
Mr. Mayo Man himself, a.k.a. Will Levis, will go to the Tennessee Titans at pick number 11. Now, I actually thought about going with Jackson Smith and Jigba here, but my gut is telling me that they're going to go after the quarterback. Ryan Tannehill is 34 years old, and I believe he only has one or 2 years left on his deal. So they're going to go after the quarterback of the future. They're going to, like I mentioned earlier with the Colts and Houston, they're getting their quarterbacks in my mock draft. Jacksonville has their quarterback. So why not finish the completion of young quarterbacks in that division with Will Levis?
What, Malik's not the future? Malik's not the future?
We're not even going to start with that because
it's so funny how
Hunter won't understand it as much, but the whole Malik Willis thing with Pittsburgh last year, and there were certain fans, holy shit.
Oh, I was one of those certain fans. I wanted him so badly. And when they announced Kenny that night, I was upset at first, and then I hopped on the train.
I thought Malik Willis should have been the pick too.
I came to realization after 10 seconds.
Oh, boy. All right, pick number 12.
Yeah, so with the 12th pick, I'm kind of going the Herb method here. I 100% agree with what he said earlier. Their hands not tied behind their back to take a quarterback at 2. They took Will Anderson for me. Here at number 12, I have them taking Will Levis, the quarterback from Kentucky. Again, I agree with Herb. I think they go defense with their first pick and then pray to the heavens that at 12 or maybe a couple picks ahead, which Herb had them trading up for Stroud, that maybe is the case. So I like this strategy. I actually, kind of looking at it, I like how this turned out for Houston, getting Will Anderson and then Will Levis, getting their generational defensive player and hopefully their franchise quarterback. So Will Levis is the pick here for Houston. And I think that fourth quarterback. So, yeah, I think that might be the last quarterback for me until Hendon Hooker goes to the Browns. So
here at 12, I have Atlanta with the trade with Houston earlier. I have them taking Jackson Smith and Jigba, wide receiver out of Ohio State. If they really believe that Desmond Ridder is the future, they need to get him some help and allow Kyle Pitts to have a lot of the defensive coverage relieved off of him. If you can get Kyle Pitts open, you can throw to him, get Jackson open. You have two weapons now instead of just Kyle Pitts and Walmart cashiers. Now you have Kyle Pitts, Jackson, and Drake London. Yeah, completely forgot that he was even on the team.
Hey, don't forget about the corpse of Roddy White either.
Right? Yeah, he's somewhere. The ghost of him is still out there playing, waiting to catch the balls.
Well, I had the Texans at the 12th pick, and I have them taking also Jackson Smith and Nick Jigba, pairing with Bryce Young. Man, what a combo would that have been? What a combo would that be? How about the Texans? That'd be really fun.
Yeah.
So, really fun. For me, with number 12, the Houston Texans go with Lucas Van Ness, the defensive end from Iowa. Now, obviously, yes, they could go.
Jeff.
Obviously, they could go after Jackson Smith and Jigba if they wanted to here. They can, they want to repair up that connection with CJ Stroud and Jackson Smith and Jigba. But this is a scheme fit. They run a 4-3. Both of their defensive ends are going to be free agents. Jonathan Greenard, who I've never heard of a day in my life, he's going to be a free agent next year. And then you also have 34-year-old Jerry Hughes, who's going to be a free agent. So clearly they need help. They need help on that edge, on that defense, and that's exactly what they get here with Lucas Van Ness.
Ooh,
I like that.
All right, number 13.
Yeah, so with the 13th pick, I have the New York Football Jets taking Paris Johnson, the offensive tackle from the Ohio State University. Let's get Aaron Rodgers some help, boys. I think Paris Johnson is the best offensive lineman in the draft. I do. I think Paris Johnson is going to be a stud. No bias at all. But yeah, I think when you look at it, with the health concerns and just the ability concerns of Mekhi Becton, and just the O-line in general in New York. I mean, like I said, Aaron Rodgers is going to be on his way soon. So I think you need to do whatever you can to protect him. So I think Paris Johnson is the pick here. And I love this pick for the New York Jets.
I also – oh, hey, thanks. I got some Red Lobster biscuits. I also have
the
Jets going.
Congratulations to you and all your success.
God, tell her I like my steak medium well.
Thank you so much. That's Roadhouse steak. Thank you very much.
Oh, man.
I also have the Jets going tackle here, but I have them going with Darnell Wright.
Ooh.
I think the Darnell Wright hype is real. As much as I don't want him at 17, I think he's climbing up draft boards very, very fast.
He needs to go to the Bengals.
Oh, yeah.
After he pulled that Bengals.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Willie Lutz, yeah.
Oh, my God. That'd be hilarious.
They, rekindled it and everything, and now
I
was
know,
on his podcast or something.
I'm going to put a negative tweet out about LeBron James, and I hope he responds to it. And then I can get him on this podcast.
Well, with my 13th pick with the Jets, I'm taking Broderick Jones, the tackle out of Georgia, just the next best tackle available. Sad for Steeler fans from the slide, unfortunately, but just got to be realistic here. I think they're going to go offensive line here with this pick. Either it's Paris Johnson, Broderick Jones, maybe Darnell Wright if he's there. We'll see.
I have them also going with Paris Johnson here. But with what Herb said about Darnell Wright is interesting because obviously if they wanted to go more of that right tackle position, that's what Darnell Wright would end up being. But for now, I just go with Paris Johnson, who is the next best, or in my opinion, is offensive tackle one. Obviously, it could be between him or Broderick Jones, but they need help on that offensive line if they want to protect Aaron Rodgers. And that's exactly what they do. They get, in my opinion, the best offensive tackle in this draft at pick number 13, which will be back-to-back years where they have a pretty damn good draft. So,
I do want to touch on that Broderick Jones selection. Kind of a spoiler. Stop taking my picks. I actually have Broderick Jones as a spoiler sliding out of the first round.
I think I know where it's called. Thanks. I already know it's 32.
He would, yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't have Broderick Jones in the first round either.
He'd be 32.
He would. I would, yeah, in a heartbeat, take him at 32.
Well, too bad you're taking that kicker I was telling you guys about.
Yeah, 14.
Oh, the New England Patriots.
Yeah, so with the 14th pick, I have the New England Patriots taking Jackson Smith-Njigba, the wide receiver from the Ohio State University. Here's the thing with the New England Patriots. We saw last year, what in God's name, don't ever. Here's the thing with the New England Patriots. You look at last year, we know the quarterback carousel with Bailey Zappi and Mac Jones. I know they've committed to Mac Jones as their starter for this year. So what you want to do is you want to get them some weapons. I felt like some of their weapons are just mid guys. Not even mid as a dish, just mid-level guys, And here's the thing. You go out and you get Juju Smith-Schuster. I love that pickup. Now you go get yourself another wide receiver, and you get, I think, the best wide receiver in the draft in Jackson Smith-Njigba. I'd be excited to see how he does in New England. So I love this pick for New England. And, I think the first wide receiver goes off the board right here.
Here at 14, I have a trade. I have New England trading back to the New York Giants.
Hold on, time out. What's new? A New England Patriots trade down.
Right.
What's new?
Wow, I thought the Patriots were going to trade that pick to the Michigan Wolverines.
I have Michigan reselecting Aiden Hutchinson and bringing him back. I just
okay, buddy.
I think the Jackson Smith-Njigba pick here for New England makes too much sense that I don't think they'd do that. I think they trade back for New York to jump over a couple teams, and I have the Giants going wide receiver with Quentin Johnston, getting a big, tall, lengthy guy who can get down the field, kind of like a Martavis Bryant in a way, like you said a couple months ago, Jeff. I think he would fit the New York Giants system decently well. I personally like Zay Flowers over him, but I think New York's going to want a tall, lanky guy that can run up and down the field and get some maybe not get some separation, but can spread the field out and get some deep balls going.
Nice. This cornerback was still on the board. I went the best player available, Christian Gonzalez, the cornerback from Oregon, going to the New England Patriots. Could definitely use some help on the defensive side of the ball. And the Patriots, you never know what they're going to do. I feel like they're always going to trade back every year, They don't stay where they're at.
Fair.
I went with Nolan Smith, the outside linebacker, edge rusher from Georgia. Now, this is a scheme fit, and you look at their outside backers. Both of them are going to be free agents after this year. I don't know if they're going to want to re-sign them or not, but you get a guy who ran 4.38 40. That is insane for a defensive end. So, yeah, needless to say,
insane.
Thank you very much, Hunter, for your input.
Oh, you're welcome, Jeff. You don't even have to ask.
Well, no, yeah, I feel like how the hell would we make this happen? If this was actually what happened, how the hell did the NFL let this happen? Because Nolan Smith will end up being just an absolute beast in New England. All right, number 15, the Green Bay Packers. At least I think.
Yeah, I have the Green Bay Packers at 15. I have them taking Lucas Van Ness, the edge rusher from Iowa here. What else is new? The Green Bay Packers taking a defensive player in the first round when they literally have no business doing it. I should say they should be taking a wide receiver or tight end with this pick, but of course they're not going to. I think Lucas Van Ness is another guy that is going to be very good. Another guy that's been going up draft boards for a little while now. And honestly, I think he could go even higher than this. So I think at 16, while the Green Bay Packers are here and they see him available, that they make the call, especially with Jackson Smith-Njigba going a pick before them. I think he was the only wide receiver they would really consider going there over maybe a guy like Lucas Van Ness. and he's gone. So I think they go best player available on defense, and they take Van Ness.
So for here with Green Bay, I have them sticking it to Aaron Rodgers. I have them going tight end Dalton Kincaid, getting a pass catcher, getting someone who could help that offense get some targets. I think they refocus on helping the quarterback in Jordan Love and trying to build some targets around him. And I think, honestly, it could be either of the tight ends that go here. I know Dalton Kincaid's got a back injury that everybody's all worried about. I think Michael Mayer could go here. I'm not sure Darnell Washington goes here anymore. He's kind of dropped. He's more viewed as a second-round pick now than he was a couple months ago. So I do think it's either Michael Mayer or Dalton Kincaid, but I have Dalton Kincaid.
And I went with Michael Mayer just because of that. I think the Packers should be really scared of maybe with that back injury. But yeah, they stick it to Rodgers. If the trade happens, it should.
I think it will, whether it's before or on the draft day or months after. I think it's going to happen.
Yeah,
I have a bold prediction for draft night, but we can wait on that one.
Okay.
All right. I agree with Herb here. I went with Dalton Kincaid here, but I was a little torn on this because are they going to go with a receiver? Are they going to go with a tight end? If so, who? Blah blah blah. Also, another history fun fact: this will be the first time that the Packers have drafted a tight end since 1970. That's 53 years.
Why it's not happening, Jeff?
So I mean, they like you said, they need a wide receiver. As of now, their 3 projected wide receivers were all rookies last year. Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, and Samori Toure. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. But yeah, they're all rookies. So why not you could possibly just add another rookie in there. But right now, both of their starting tight end and their backup tight end are all going to be free agents at the end of the year. And they lost Robert Tonyan. So yeah, they need to go after a tight end in my opinion.
It would just make too much sense for them.
Yeah. All right, here we go. So right now it's Washington, and this is where us 3 of the Steeler fans here, this is where our blood starts to pump a little bit.
I think now with the rising of Deontay Banks, I think my nerves have shot down a lot more of them taking Joey Porter here. I think a lot of these corners are starting to climb up the draft board, and Joey's starting to slide a bit, which I personally don't understand.
Yeah, with this pick, I have the Washington Commanders taking Bijan Robinson, the running back from Texas. And here's why. Is when you look at this Commanders team, their defense is solid. I think once they get Chase Young back to his normal self, I think they're a very good defensive team. Sure, you can go Joey Porter Jr. here, but I'd like Bijan. I think he's a generational talent. And you look at the Commanders running back room, and it's not good. It's not good at all. So I think when you're at pick 16 right here and Bijan Robinson is still available, I think you do it if you're Washington. And you kind of build on that offense and add another weapon to that offense and kind of solidify the run game a little bit. Because, I mean, Washington hasn't had a good run game for a very long time. So I think this is the year Bijan Robinson saves the Washington Commanders. And Jacoby Brissett, don't forget that.
Here at 16, I have Washington going defense and taking Christian Gonzalez, corner out of Oregon. It's pretty late for him to go, but I think I couldn't really find a slot for him after Philadelphia, other than, I guess that Atlanta trade. But I think this is just a perfect slot for him. I think Washington goes best player available. And with Christian Gonzalez still on the board, you can't really let him slide to a team like Pittsburgh or even Detroit to go double corner and get both him and Devin. But I think they go best player available and grab Christian Gonzalez.
In that situation, in Herb's if that's how it worked out, like once you get to about 14 and 15, us Steeler fans are gonna be thinking, "Are we really gonna get Christian Gonzalez?" And then you do that, and then our hearts just go.
Mm-hmm. Then that's going to be boiling. But I went with Darnell Wright. I think that just to help out that offensive line, whoever the quarterback is there, I really don't know who it is
right now on their depth chart, the projected quarterback is going to be Sam Howell.
Sam Howell. Interesting.
AKA Baker Mayfield 2.0.
Do you
Or
think
Johnny Manziel 3.0.
Do you think they would draft a quarterback? Let's say like Will Levis falls to them.
No,
Not at all.
I don't think so.
I don't think the new owner is going to want to. I don't. Well, I don't know. The new owner might try to make a big splash and go after Lamar Jackson and kind of just stick it to the other owners.
That's true. But I went with Darnell, right? With the Commanders, I don't know what I wanted to go corner, but I think they go with the tackle instead. Protect their future quarterback.
So for me with this pick, there are certain picks that you've will not feel that comfortable about or confident about, and then there are certain picks that you just feel super confident about. That's me with this pick. I feel ridiculously confident in this pick, and it's going to end up being Joey Porter Jr. here. You have Kendall Fuller, and that's really about it at corner. I mean, the corners right now are not good at all. So why not go after the next best corner in this draft class? And they go and help bolster that defense a little bit more. And that secondary was Joey Porter Jr., who was 21st in passing. Or no, they were very good at passing defense last year. I lied.
Well, as Hunter said earlier in the podcast, you're wrong.
Blink.
See, it's becoming
If only a select few people are gonna understand that.
Jeff, I'm gonna go on Amazon right now for the draft show next weekend, and I'm gonna get one of those buttons. When you smash it, it goes wrong. And every time you say something,
that would be hilarious. Oh boy, here we go. Number 17.
Yeah, so with the 17th pick, I have the Chicago Bears here, remember. I have them going Joey Porter Jr., the corner from Penn State. In all honesty, I like this move for the Bears, trading down 8 spots, and still getting a guy who I think is going to be a very good player. Their secondary does need work. I mean, if you're the Chicago Bears, I mean, there's multiple ways you could go with this pick. But again, I love Joey Porter Jr. I pray to God he doesn't end up in Pittsburgh. But, I think Joey Porter Jr. is going to be a stud. And I have him going to the Chicago Bears here at 17.
I agree. I have same player, same pick, different team. I have Joey Porter Jr. going to the Steelers. It's just I've seen a couple mock drafts where they have him sliding past Pittsburgh, but I think if he hits 17 and he's still on the board, there's no way he gets past him. Whether, in personal opinion, whether Christian Gonzalez is still on the board or Deontay Banks is still on the board or even Paris Johnson is still on the board. I don't see them. Wow, what a play by the Pirates. Sorry. I don't see them skipping over Joey Porter Jr. Yeah, they're up 4-0 in the top of the 7th.
Pirates to the World Series.
Wow. Even with Paris Johnson and Christian Gonzalez.
I just don't see them passing on Joey Porter simply because it'll be a legacy pick.
I agree with
bloodlines.
I know. I agree with you, Herb, with this.
Not WWE either.
I also have Joey Porter Jr. here, just based on the best player available here for me, and it would just fit personally. And shout out to Jakob. He's 100% confident that this pick will happen. That's what he's saying since before the draft started. Joey Porter Jr. to the Steelers.
Dude, you guys realize we could definitely be the bloodline. Like, I could be Roman Reigns, Herb and Jarryd can be the Usos, and Jeff can be Paul Heyman.
I thought you were gonna try to say I was gonna be like Sami Zayn or some shit and fucking.
oh dear God, no, Jeff. You're what's his name? You're Paul Heyman.
My client.
Okay, don't even start. Lions 18.
Hold on, honestly, I didn't even get to go.
Oh well, yeah, I know. That's why I was going.
If it isn't Joey Porter Jr., we're skipping over it.
Well, good. It's not because it's Broderick Jones. I have them going Broderick Jones here. They've completely revamped that offensive line over the last couple of years, and now they go and add the left tackles. So that means Dan Moore, you could kiss your ass goodbye out of the starting lineup, which we're all begging and pleading for in the 4-1-2. And we all know that Tomlin loves the big school guys, and obviously coming from Georgia, that's obviously a big school. And you go to protect Kenny Pickett as much as you can. And I still think that they could go after a quality corner at pick number 32. So they get the last of the top 3 tackles at pick number 17. All right, number 18, the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, with the 18th pick, I have the Detroit Lions taking Michael Mayer here, the tight end from Notre Dame. As we know, the Lions last year traded T.J. Hawkinson to the Minnesota Vikings, and I think this is where they replace him, truly. I think Michael Mayer is the best tight end in the draft, and I think he's going to be a stud. And I love this pick for the Lions. You boost your secondary with the 6th pick, and then you come back at 18 and get another weapon on offense who is very versatile and can do everything. So, another thing about Michael Mayer too is he's a very good blocker. Obviously with DeAndre Swift, you just signed David Montgomery. I think it just helps them boost the run game, and like I said again, gives Jared Goff another weapon as well.
I have Detroit here at 18 going Brian Brzee out of Clemson. Could you imagine a defensive line that's got Brian Brzee and Aiden Hutchinson, and hopefully he can get back to his ways. I know he's had some issues. He's had some off-field issues. I truly believe Brian Brzee is one of the top prospects in this draft. If he can just get everything back together going, that defensive line in Detroit would be nasty.
No, I can't imagine it, Herb, because it's not going to happen.
Wrong.
I'm just kidding. Jeff.
With the Lions, I'm taking Jalen Carter with their first pick. The second pick, I will double dipping on defense, taking Deontay Banks, the cornerback from Maryland.
Okay, I like that.
Just so beef up that defense. Their defense is really bad. Like I said, the corners were good in free agency. I just have a feeling they'll take. I feel like Jalen Carter won't go past the Lions personally. It's either Seattle or the Lions. That's how I see it.
As of now, I have the Detroit Lions going with Kalijah Kancey, the defensive tackle from Pitt. They need help badly on that interior defensive line. They'd gotten, in my opinion, the best corner in the draft, and now they go and help their defensive line. Because right now their two defensive tackles are Alim McNeil and former Steeler legend Isaiah Bugs. So, but yeah, they need help on that defensive line as much as they can. So they go and help out with Kalijah Kancey, who arguably people are saying, he's the first defensive tackle prospect to come out of the first round since Aaron Donald, and I think he's going to end up being a beast for them.
Nice.
Number 19, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
What'd you say?
I think it's the Buccaneers. What?
Dog, I was just making sure I heard that right. I was like, wait a second. Yeah, with this pick, give me like 1 second because my computer just.
1 second.
Jeff,
2 seconds.
Oh, I got it. Okay, nope, we're good. Okay.
3 seconds.
Yeah, Jeff, I'm gonna kill you.
4 seconds.
With the 19th, I'm gonna jump out my window.
5 second violation. You're done.
Okay. With the 19th pick, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking Deontay Banks, the corner from Maryland. I think the Buccaneers' defensive corner position took a little hit in free agency. I was even surprised that they re-signed Jamel Dean. But even with them resigning Jamel Dean, it is still a big need for them. So I think Deontay Banks, I think he's underrated. I think he's also going to be a good corner. This is a good year for corners, I feel like. I think Deontay Banks is going to be good, and I think the Buccaneers are going to go to the Super Bowl with the GOAT, Baker Mayfield, leading them there. So
I also have Tampa Bay going secondary. I have them taking Brian Branch, who is coming in as a safety, but they could slide him to corner, put him in the nickel spot. When you look at this Tampa Bay defense and you decide who they're going to pick, you just need to throw up the whole defensive positions and just throw a dartboard. Just throw a dart at the defensive positions because it's terrible. That whole division has just got terrible rosters, and I think Tampa Bay just could go literally anywhere with this pick, and I have them going Brian Branch.
Well, with my pick with the Bucs, I have them with a little QB competition, taking Will Levis, going to the Bucs quarterback. Baker Mayfield, yeah, he's probably going to be there for a year and he's going to be done. Personally, they could still be in for the Caleb Williams sweepstakes next year. But I think, the Bucs are a sneaky team. They're going to get a quarterback here in this draft.
I actually, at one point of time in this mock draft, had them going with Will Levis, and then I kind of switched it up a little bit. Here, I went with Darnell Wright. You look at their tackles right now. So you have Tristan Wirfs. He moves over to the left side. And then you have Brandon Walton, who was an undrafted free agent, playing for them at right tackle. I don't think so. I think they're going to go after Darnell Wright, who's the next best tackle prospect, and it fits perfect because they need a right tackle. I thought about actually going with Bijan Robinson here because he's still available on my side. But, yeah, Darnell Wright's going to be a plug-and-play guy. They help retool that offensive line. And like what Herb said, you could possibly go with defense here. But I just see them saying, no, we want to help with this offensive line out a little bit more, and away we go. Number 20, the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, so with the 20th pick here, I have the Seattle Seahawks going Jordan Addison, the wide receiver from USC. When you look at the Seahawks team, it's just getting another weapon for Geno Smith. You saw them take Tyree Wilson here at number 5, getting their guy on defense, and now they get another weapon on offense. I mean, a wide receiver core of DK Metcalf, Jordan Addison, and Tyler Lockett is one to be feared. I love this pick for Seattle, and another wide receiver goes off the board for me.
Yeah, so here for Seattle, I have them double dipping on defense again. I have them going Lucas Van Ness, edge out of Iowa. I think they could pick from either him or Nolan Smith here, and you can't go wrong with either two. I love both of them at the edge position in this draft. I personally believe Lucas Van Ness is better, but that speed of Nolan Smith you just can't beat. So I have Lucas Van Ness kind of sliding to 20. I think he could really go in the range between 5 and around this. I think he could go anywhere from 5 to 25. It's really hard to tell how many teams like Lucas Van Ness and how many teams don't, but I think he could go here at 20 to Seattle.
So real quick, I want to ask Herb about a question about that because you mentioned that between Lucas Van Ness and Nolan Smith. I'm a little surprised you didn't want to go with Nolan Smith here because of the scheme fix. They run that 3-4 defense, and Nolan Smith runs more of that outside backer position. So do you think that Lucas Van Ness can play that 3 technique in the defense in that 3-man front? Or
I definitely think he has the capabilities to. But to me, it's kind of just a coin flip between the two, who you like better in the Seattle scheme of things and who Pete Carroll's going to look at and want to take. They definitely could go Nolan Smith here to fit the scheme better and to pair up with his Georgia teammate of Jalen Carter. But I truly believe Lucas Van Ness is the better player. He might not be the better scheme fit, but he is the better player.
Okay.
Well, with the 20 pick, I have the Seattle Seahawks taking Kalijah Kancey here, pair up with Tyree Wilson. Next up at D-line, man. Those two together with those 2 cornerbacks looking pretty good for Seattle. Look out for Seattle next season.
So I went with Jackson Smith and Najigba, and I don't know what the hell's on the screen for Hunter, but
oh, does that say Super Bowl Super Browns? I think it does.
Super Bowl Super Trash. But no, I have the Seattle Seahawks going with Jackson Smith and Najigba here. So they got an edge rusher at pick number 5, and now they go and give Geno Smith another weapon. Now, I've been seeing some people try to talk about, could Seattle go with a quarterback here? Again, same way that I felt about Las Vegas. I don't think that's the case. But now you have Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Jackson Smith and Jigba kind of reminds me of like a Jarvis Landry in terms of the way that he's such a reliable receiver, and he's going to be a volume catcher in terms of receptions. I think Najigba has the kind of talent to possibly go after, I don't know what the fuck I'm saying at this point.
Yeah.
No, I'm getting tired. No, I think Najigba can be the kind of guy that can lead the team or lead the league in receptions. That's what I'm trying to get out, but we'll see.
Okay. Yeah. Shitty job.
Took me 10 minutes. I sound like fucking Daniel here, but
Okay, watch it. Hey, Daniel, come on. We all know Daniel has issues. Okay, don't make fun of my friend like that. There's nothing wrong with him. He's just stupid. All right, who's the next pick?
The Chargers.
The Chargers.
Yeah, so with the Chargers here at pick 21, I have them taking Zay Flowers, the wide receiver from Boston College. Like I said to you guys earlier, I love Zay Flowers. I think Zay Flowers is going to be a stud. You look at the Chargers wide receiver situation, Keenan Allen's just getting older. And even when he came back from injury last year, he didn't move that great or look like he moved that great. Mike Williams can't really stay on the field a ton as well. So, and we saw that last year. I mean, Justin Herbert struggled. The Chargers struggled with, their wide receiver depth. So I think Zay Flowers here could at least provide some insurance at worst. But at best, you run out a three-headed monster of Allen Williams and Zay Flowers. And give Justin Herbert some weapons.
And I agree. I have Zay Flowers going here as well. You just kind of add a polar opposite to what they have with Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, guys who don't have speed but have that big build. Zay Flowers, who can really get downfield and has some decent speed to him. But like you said, it's a receiver that I truly believe will be able to stay on the field, at least give Justin Herbert a good target when Keenan Allen and Mike Williams do get hurt. It's going to happen. It happens every year. You got Zay Flowers. You don't have to turn to a bunch of other guys that you can't trust. You'll be able to have Zay Flowers there to put up some numbers and get the team rolling on offense when those two eventually get hurt.
Man, I guess we're 3 for 3. I went with Zay Flowers as well to the Chargers here. Just don't need to explain anymore. You guys pretty much put the nail to the coffin to it. He's the better receiver, in my opinion.
Yeah, we all copied Todd McShay's mock draft. Let's go.
Well, good thing that I didn't, because I did not. We're not going for.
Oh, well, do you want a cookie, Jeff?
Actually, you know what? Do you have one for me?
Don't you dare! Go say your pick.
All right, for me, I have them going with Bijan Robinson here. Now, when I look at this pick, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of this, but it's not about what I'm a fan of. It's about what I think is going to happen. And Austin Eckler wants out. I think they'll give him they'll let him go, and you'll have Bijan Robinson, who I've said before on numerous occasions reminds me of Saquon Barkley, and like how Hunter mentioned. What the hell is that face for, Hunter? Fucking asshole.
I'm just fucking with you, man.
But yeah, he kind of reminds me of Saquon Barkley, and if you could get that kind of impact, like you said, he's gonna be a guy that can go out of the backfield, catch a lot of passes, or he's going to be a great runner for them. So it just adds another some more dynamic to that offense. So that's kind of what I'm thinking with. I think they go with Bijan Robinson here.
See, that's going to make Joe Mixon mad when he has to sit behind him. And Joe Mixon in L.A., Eckler in Cincinnati, swap running backs, man.
Number 22, the Baltimore Lamar Jacksons.
You mean the Baltimore Tyler Huntley, dumbass. Anyways, at the 22nd pick, I have the Baltimore Ravens going with Cam Smith, the corner from South Carolina. With this pick, you get a guy that can line up directly opposite of Marlon Humphrey out there. Marcus Peters is getting older and less reliable as well, which is good because I do not like Marcus Peters. But, yeah, I think the Ravens go corner here. I think at a desperation move, if they might consider Hendon Hooker, if Lamar Jackson goes, you just get his clone that's 7 inches taller. No, I'm just kidding, but I think Cam Smith's the pick here, and the last corner of the first round goes right here.
So I actually have the Ravens doing something that no team has done in a while. I have them not beating the clock. I think Lamar comes in and unplugs all the phones, takes the papers, takes the pencils. They're unable to get their pick in.
Hey, hold on, time out. You know what that ironic is?
The Ravens.
You remember?
Dude,
so if you go back,
friend of Fantasyland, are you living in?
Listen, so you guys know how like on YouTube you could go back and rewatch like those old drafts or whatever. Something like that happened with Baltimore back in 2011, where like there was a team that passed them up. Like it was just they didn't turn a pick in. They just let a team pass. I think it was Kansas City. They just passed them up, and then they finally took a pick.
Oh, shit. I have them going Deontay Banks. I mean, he's not going to have to move out of the state. He's going to stay local. Maryland, I think. And as much as I love Deontay Banks, I'd hate him to go here. Line up against Marlon Humphrey on this in that secondary for those corners would be disgusting for Baltimore. But I have in my opinion, Deontay Banks, one of the best corners in this draft, going here to Baltimore, staying in the same state.
Well, I went with Jordan Addison with this pick to the Ravens. I think with this Lamar situation, I don't know where it's going to go. I think now he's going to stay more than get traded, personally. I just add another weapon to help Lamar out because I think Lamar is going to stay. I think whatever offer that a team's going to trade for, I think they're going to match it. I think they're not going to let him go.
So for me, I went with Aditamiwa Adibare, the defensive end from Northwestern. Try to say that name 5 times fast.
What is that?
Listen, that was like the only pick. I had to like phonetically write it in my notes just so I can make sure I knew how to pronounce it because it's one of those names where it's like, what the hell? But I do think a wide receiver is possible here. But when I look at their defensive line, Broderick Washington, who's one of their interior defensive linemen, he's a free agent. He's also, I don't think they're going to want to re-sign him. And also Justin Matabuke, he's also a free agent in 2024. They run a 3-4 defense, and now he's one of those tweener guys where it's like the length doesn't necessarily fit a defensive end, but he's also a little bit light at a defensive tackle. So I kind of think if you pair him up in that 3-man or in that three technique in that 3-man front, I think that's a perfect fit for him. And I just feel like this is the kind of pick that Baltimore would make, and he'll end up being good for them. Number 23, the Minnesota Vikings. Unless you're Hunter.
Yeah, no, I have the Arizona Cardinals here at 23, and I have them drafting Keon White, the edge rusher from Georgia Tech. Now, do I think Keon White should go in the first round? Absolutely the fuck not. But with that being said, it seems like there's people that know more than we do. He's already been invited to the green room. So, I mean, I think he has been rising up draft boards too. We know the Arizona Cardinals need an edge rusher very bad. So I do think they go with arguably the best one available right here in Keon White. So they drop 21 spots, stack up on draft capital, but still get a position that they desperately need.
I have Minnesota taking Emmanuel Forbes, the cornerback out of Mississippi State. He is also another player that's draft stock has been slowly rising. I get it. I love Emmanuel Forbes. I kept myself saying this a lot with the corners. I love the majority of these corners. If we somehow don't get Joey Porter at 17 and get a Julius Brents at 49, I'm fine with that. But I think Emmanuel Forbes, like I said, he's rising his draft stock. I think he goes here to Minnesota. I think he could go to 27 to Buffalo. I think this is about the area where he could start to go. Minnesota losing Patrick Peterson. They also lost, what was his name? He was practice squad or he was waived. It was one of their corners. I forget where he just went, but they lost 2 corners, and they definitely need somebody to fill in for a defensive back role there. And I think Emmanuel Forbes is the pick here. As much as I don't really care for his size, he's a phenomenal player.
And I have to agree with her here. I also picked Forbes here at this pick. Minnesota just needs to pick the right corner here. It happens every year. They get a good corner a year, and they still draft another one the next year.
So we have a comment from a guy named John. He says, "Let's go Ravens" on YouTube.
Oh, God. I think I know who that is.
John, who in the hell are you?
First and foremost, I will say, John, thank you so much for watching and listening to us. But hey,
John's a Giants fan. He's just bullshitting around. I know.
Well, that's even worse.
Wow. All right. So for me, I have the Minnesota Vikings going with Deontay Banks.
And that's the Jags fan.
A Jags fan?
Yeah, that's my Jags fan.
I didn't even know they existed.
They do.
Well, ironically, Joey, you came in at the right spot because the very next pick that we're getting ready to do is the Jacksonville Jaguars. So you came in at the perfect time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, for me, I have the Minnesota Vikings going with Deontay Banks, the corner from Maryland. This is their 5th corner in like a decade in the first round. But they had 2 rookies they have 2 rookies from last year starting at the cornerback position, Andrew Booth and Caleb Evans. And you can never have too many corners. And on top of that, they were 31st in passing defense last year. Banks has the size to match up with almost any receiver on the outside. So I think this ends up being a very good pickup for Minnesota.
I think it was 3 years ago, right? Last time we played, was it 2 or 3 years? I can't remember.
Probably 3 for you, 2. Well, a year ago for 2 years, I guess.
All I know is the Cleveland Browns have a playoff win more recently than the Pittsburgh Steelers, Joey.
All right.
They also have more recent sex allegations.
Hey, what my quarterback does in his free time is none of your business. Just kidding.
All right.
What's funny is he was at the front row of the Cavs game the other night, and I was telling my roommates, I was like, try to spot sex pred in the crowd somewhere. So I didn't know where he was at, but he looked good though. He's taking pictures with Andrew Berry, Myles Garrett, so which means we're going 17-0 this year. Now, with that being said,
real quick, we have a couple comments here. So Joey says, "Love me some sex allegations."
I hate this.
And then "Don't ask me why" says, "Who's that cutie on the bottom right?"
I hate these guys, man.
And then John here says, "Giants 2025 Super Bowl champs. Mark my words."
All right, John.
Oh boy. Okay. All right, yeah. So number 24, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, so with the 24th pick here, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking Dalton Kincaid, the tight end from Utah. I do expect them to reach a deal with Evan Ingram soon, but as of right now, Trent Baalke kind of came out and said that, it's not gaining any really momentum right now. So Dalton Kincaid is a great pass catcher, another top target for Trevor Lawrence.
The one that
we have 3 comments. Dude, don't ask me why. Says, "Boy, you know what I could go for is a massage with my good friend Deshaun Watson."
Hey, just make sure about halfway through the massage you cover your face in case some liquids go flying.
And then Joey says, "No bad take in terms of what Hunter said about the Jags." So,
you know what, Joey?
Wrong.
So for me with Jacksonville here, I have the oh my god.
I hate these guys, man.
Well, I was gonna ask him why, but his name is Don't Ask Me Why. So
I know who it is. I already know who it is. I think I know who it is.
Likes it on his face.
So for Jacksonville, I have them going edge rusher Nolan Smith out of Georgia. Jacksonville's roster is just, in my opinion, it's one of the best in the NFL. There's very little holes anywhere in the spot. There's some on defense, and I think that's about it. They could really go anywhere. BPO or best player available. They can go safety if Brian Branch is still on the board, but I have them going Nolan Smith at edge to bolster up the defensive line and really help that defense.
So I have another question here real quick on that. So you have Nolan Smith and the 2 positions, so he plays that 3-4 outside backup position. They run a 3-4 again. So you have Trayvon Walker, who plays that position for them, and then you have Josh Allen, who right now is going to be a free agent next year. Do we think they're going to get a deal done with them, or what? So are you thinking that they're not going to get a deal done with them, or do you think they're going to kind of move things around a little bit in terms of what they do with the defense?
I think at one point they'll move things around and get Josh Allen some places or Nolan Smith somewhere else. But I don't personally believe that they'll get a deal done with Josh Allen. He's had great games here or there. I don't think he's been really the talent that he's supposed to be. And I mean, to a point, I don't think Trayvon Walker has really lived up to the first overall hype as well. He's kind of, maybe I'm a casual at this point, but I didn't hear much about him over the season.
Casual.
And I personally don't think he's lived up to the overall hype yet.
Really? Yeah. The Jags don't have many holes to fill. I went with I went with Brian Branch, the defensive back for Alabama. I think just for a good position flexibility, can play the nickel, can play the safety, can be all around the field. Definitely help that secondary out.
Well, I went with a tight end here, but I went with Michael Mayer here, the tight end from Notre Dame. Like Hunter mentioned, Evan Ingram got tagged, and there's a chance that they could get a deal done. But for now, that's not the case. So I went with Michael Mayer as a guy who can pass, who is a good pass catcher, and a guy that can block, like you guys mentioned earlier, which will be nice for this offense. In terms for Travis Etienne, he's going to like that a lot too. So I think they end up going with a tight end here. In my opinion, could be tight end number 1.
Well, According to my Jags fan, he doesn't like any of your tight end positions. Loved the Herb pick, but he said it played decent.
Hey, dude, who the hell is this Joey guy?
Huh? I told you. I know this guy.
I honestly believe if Brian Branch is on the board, he's 100% not making it past Jacksonville. I
agree.
I think he's one of my. If I were to 100% say somebody's going to Jacksonville, I believe it's Brian Branch.
It's definitely Brian Branch. Like I said, definitely helps that defense personally all over the field. This guy's a baller.
All right, number 25, the New York Football Giants. Unless for someone else, I think they made a trade.
Yeah,
I did. I got a trade too. I have the Cleveland Browns trading up here.
Oh, here we
go. I'm just kidding. I have the New York Giants here taking Trenton Simpson, the linebacker from Clemson. I think linebacker is arguably the biggest need for the Giants here. Before our first mock draft show, I had them taking a wide receiver, but I kind of think they filled that hole nicely. They didn't get any big guys, but they got a couple of solid guys. And I don't know. Because in this case, the only guy left that they could take is Quentin Johnston, and I know many people aren't super high on him. So I think they go with a defense here, and they take Trenton Simpson.
I also have It just took me a minute to register that Trenton Simpson was a linebacker going this early. I also have defense here, and I have Miles Murphy going to New England at 25. It's probably wrong, yeah, but I think New England could use some edge rushers. They could use some defensive help, and I think they'll be able to get some linked up here with get their defensive. Get some help for Matthew Judon. I just think this Patriots roster is not as good as people make it out to be. I don't like the Juju signing. He was great in Pittsburgh as a number 2 wide receiver. He didn't shine. He was kind of under the radar in Kansas City, but he's coming to New England where he's not. I guess he's not the number 1 receiver with a tight end. Name escapes me. Hunter Henry, right?
No.
I
don't even know.
Right now, yes, Hunter Henry. He's a free.
Okay, yeah. You're all right.
Yeah. So with Hunter Henry and Mike Gesicki, who they just signed, New England's back to what they had, hopefully the double-headed tight end that they usually have. Know who they signed out of, name escapes me, from Tennessee, didn't really pan out, but
Jonnu Smith.
Yeah, that's who it was. I don't like the Juju signing, the 3 years. I mean, they did get him for a good deal, but they signed him to the exact same thing as Jacoby Myers, and I think Juju's not going to do as much as Jacoby did in New England. But this New England roster just has a lot of holes, and I think starting with defense and Miles Murphy can really help. I also don't think Mac Jones starts all 16 games this season. I think they eventually move on from him.
So with the Giants, for me, I went with Quentin Johnson, the wide receiver from TCU. I think they just add another weapon for Daniel Jones. You sign him a big contract. Go get him another weapon. Definitely help out that offense. I could see linebacker. I was thinking about linebacker as well for this pick, but I just feel like for Daniel Jones to help him out, at least give him a good receiver with Quentin Johnson.
So I had them going with Zay Flowers, wide receiver from Boston College. Now, like Hunter mentioned, they signed a bunch of wide receivers. They signed Paris Campbell, they signed Jamison Crowder, and re-signed they got Sterling Shepard. But the thing is, all those guys, and on top of Isaiah Hodgins, who's another one of their starting receivers, are all good on 1-year deals. They're all going to be free agents next year. So you have Wan'Dale Robinson, who's going to be returning from injury. And that offense was not that great that last year. They were 26th in offense last year. Now, I do wonder if we could see possibly an interior offensive lineman, someone like a Joe Tippmann or John Michael Schmitz or even Osiris Torrance here. But for now, I give them another weapon to pair up for Daniel Jones. All right, number 26, the Dallas Cowgirls.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm taking a page out of Herb's book here. I think at the last second, Ezekiel Elliott's going to come in a crop top and disconnect all the phones so they don't get the pick off. So no, I think the Dallas Cowboys take Brian Bresee here. I think Brian Bresee is one of those guys who has a wide range of where he can go. But I think Brian Bresee is going to be a solid player. I really do. And I could see Dallas taking him here, especially with it's hard because, like Jeff, I know we talked about this yesterday, and you said Dallas is a team where you struggled with what they were going to do.
They were the team that I struggled with the most.
Yeah, and I got to them, and I was like, Jeff's bullshitting. I was like, Jeff's just not built like me, because I thought I was going to figure it out right away. And I didn't. But Brian Bresee is what I came up with. I think they kind of go best player available. I do think they take a good hard look at Quentin Johnson right here. Emphasis on the hard. But yeah, I think Brian Bresee is the pick here.
See, I lucked out. I think with mine, the way the mock fell, it was a no-brainer for Dallas. I had them going Bijan Robinson. They need a running back. They just let go of Zeke. I know they still have Tony Pollard. I don't know if they view him as a number one. They never really put him as number one, even when they had Zeke. So I think they play Saquon twice a year and see a guy who plays almost the exact same play style and is almost an identical copy to Saquon Barkley and go, yep, let's get Saquon on our team and draft Bijan Robinson.
Who, real quick, in my opinion, is going to give them the kind of impact that Ezekiel Elliott had his rookie year. So
I went with Cam Smith here for the Cowboys. This was another hard one for me, like Jeff said. Like, he had a tough time picking. I guess everyone did, because the Cowboys can go anywhere. Really, they need a corner. They needed someone on the D line. They need a running back. They could maybe take Jahmyr Gibbs here at 26, but I doubt that. I don't think that'll happen. It's either Bijan or no running back to go either best other player available somewhere else. But I think Cam Smith, he's a good corner. Cam Smith's really good. He's going to be a second-round corner probably in the draft, which sucks because I liked him a lot. He's outstanding player, because you got Diggs on the other side. He needs help on the other side. Diggs I feel like he's just a ball hawk type of corner, you know.
So for me with Dallas, like I said, I had a hard time with this pick. I ended up, Herb, you could go ahead and throw up your M's, because I went with Mazi Smith here, the defensive tackle from Michigan. The only Michigan Wolverine to come off, because, you know, they only get one while Ohio State had like three. So, you know, it's still fuck Michigan. But
championship.
But and this was ironic, because I know I ran this by Herb about a month ago or so, and I had a comparison for him, and it was Dontari Poe, and he said that he liked that comp a lot, and I think that's exactly the kind of player that they could use on that defensive line. So, yeah, after it took me like 15 minutes to figure it out, I decided to go with Mazi Smith for the Dallas Cowboys. And I also feel like the exact same way that I felt about the Giants with Dallas. I could also see them going with an interior offensive lineman, the same three guys, Joe Tippmann, John Michael Schmitz, or Osiris Torrance as well. But now we're going to go on to number 27, the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, so with the 27th pick, I have the Buffalo Bills taking Quentin Johnston, the wide receiver from TCU. I think the Bills desperately need a wide receiver. It's one of those things where I don't think Gabe Davis is a wide receiver 2. I think he's a very good wide receiver 3. And I think the Bills' window is starting to close soon. Their window, they've failed over and over again. Excuse me, in the playoffs. I don't know what that was. But I think they need to get Josh Allen another weapon desperately. And I think Quentin Johnston is the best receiver left at this point, and I think they take a chance on him.
I agree. I also have Buffalo going wide receiver and taking Jordan Addison out of USC. If you'd have talked to me about this a month ago, I would have forced Jordan Addison out of the first round and put him at 32, no matter what. But I think Buffalo is going to take a receiver, whoever is left on the board, whether Zay Flowers slips, Quentin Johnston, or Jordan Addison. They need to get Josh Allen another receiver. Like you said, Gabe Davis is great, but I don't think he's a number 2 receiver. He's a decent receiver at best. He's definitely number 3. But I don't know if Jordan Addison is going to be the thing that puts them over the hump with the wide receivers, but he's definitely going to help Josh Allen be able to target Stephon Diggs more.
I went with Jahmyr Gibbs from the running back from Alabama here. It's possible they go receiver here, which I can see, but unless Bijan's here, because I don't think they could sign Zeke if they want to go for him, but I don't think they would. I think Zeke's a big risk to sign unless you get him like a really good deal. I just get the next running back off the board is Jahmyr Gibbs and helps relieve Josh Allen, goddamn running the ball every time.
I do think that if there is a team that will draft Jahmyr Gibbs in the first round, it would be Buffalo. I just feel like that fit would end up being so nice for them as Hunter decides to go Roy G. Biv on us in the background. But yeah, I do think.
What are you talking about?
Oh, here you go. But for me, at number 27, as I unplugged my headphones on accident, I have the Buffalo Bills going after Drew Sanders, the linebacker from Arkansas. Tremaine Edmonds is gone, and Sanders is the guy who's going to be able to fill in that position. He's a guy that could get a lot of tackles. He's athletic as hell. He closes the gap in a quick, fast, and in a hurry. And he's also a guy that could get a lot of sacks. And I think this will be a guy that Sean McDermott will absolutely love in that defense. Number 28, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, so with the Cincinnati Bengals here at 28, I have them taking DeJuan Jones, the offensive tackle from The Ohio State University. I know this is kind of probably an unpopular pick as this is maybe a little high for DeJuan Jones to go, but I am in love with DeJuan Jones' upside. I think he has the potential to be a great offensive lineman in the NFL, and the Bengals are still in that mode where it's protect Joe Burrow, protect Joe Burrow, protect Joe Burrow. And I think the Bengals here late in the first round go with upside and potential more than a finished product per se, and I think DeJuan Jones is the pick.
Yeah, sorry, I got distracted. I have Cincinnati taking, I think, their biggest need here at tight end, going Michael Mayer, getting yourself, essentially a great blocking tight end and a good catching tight end. He's my tight end one. I'm definitely worried about Dalton Kincaid's back injury, but I have Michael Mayer going to Cincinnati. I'd hate for any of these tight ends to really end up in Cincinnati, because if you give Joe Burrow, a Dalton Kincaid, Michael Mayer, hell, even a Darnell Washington, it's just that Cincinnati offense is just going to get a lot scarier.
And I agree, but I have him taking Dalton Kincaid here. This is the next best tight end on the board. Just makes that Cincinnati offense scary, man. But you just got to hope that defense holds them up, basically.
So I'll go with the latter here. I'll go with another tight end. I'll end up going with Darnell Washington here. So I've had a couple tight ends go off already. So I'll go with the next best tight end. When you look at his size, he's going to be a force on offense. He's going to be a red zone threat. And on top of that, you have Chase, you have Boyd, you have Higgins, and you have Mixon as of now. The rich get richer on offense. All right, we're getting close to being done, but now we have number 29, the New Orleans Saints.
Where's the Jolly Roger?
Sorry. No, you're good.
The Pirates just beat the Reds.
I have the same pick in Collage, you can't see.
Cool.
Great. Awesome. Fantastic.
Home run. Again, I think the Saints D-line needs a lot of work. I'm intrigued with Kalijah Kancey's upside, especially after a good pro day combine performance. It was one of the two. I can't remember. I'm sorry. I'm getting old. But yeah,
even though you're the youngest in here.
You're getting old, yeah.
How old are all you guys? Just to be curious. I was just wondering.
25.
I'm 25 as well.
I'm 24.
Nice. You guys are old.
Start thinking about retirement here soon.
For real?
All right, Jeff. Okay. But yeah, Kalijah Kancey's my pick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the Saints, I have them taking Will McDonald. Cam Jordan's not going to be there forever. They're going to need to start getting an edge rusher in there that can learn off of him or learn next to him and get that new breed new young talent in there for New Orleans. I definitely think this is where Will McDonald can start going. He could go anywhere from high second round, low first round to even mid second round. It's just this draft is so crazy when it comes to players because I truly think there's only about 20 first round talents, and then it just could go anywhere else. This draft has a lot of question marks, and it's one of the craziest ones I think I've seen in a while.
It's like last year's draft, or almost like when you're doing like kind of what we're doing, it makes our heads explode sometimes because it's like trying to figure out what the hell teams are going to do.
Yeah, I have Miles Murphy here. It's still available going to the Saints here. Like I said, Miles Murphy can go either at the end of the first round to like the top 10 of the first round.
I had him going 8, and you have him going 29.
Right.
So that kind of shows the range that he can go.
Because it's just weird with these, how these players are. You just never know wherever they're going to go here. I didn't know where to put them, honestly, personally.
So, in terms of what Herb said, I like what he said because obviously Cam Jordan is 33. He's not getting any younger. I actually went with Keon White here. And like I mentioned before, there was another pick that I felt super confident. Oh, it was a Washington pick. That's kind of how I feel about this pick. I just feel like Keon White is bound to be a New Orleans Saint. He has the potential to get even better. And they were 5th in sacks last year, and you add on to that even more. So I just feel like this to pick I feel super confident in, which will probably end up not being the case now, but we know how that goes. Ratio. Number 30, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Jeff, you better watch yourself. With the 30th pick, I have the Philadelphia Eagles taking Jahmyr Gibbs, the running back from Alabama. I think after missing out on Bijan Robinson here, they go out and get Jahmyr Gibbs. I like Jahmyr Gibbs, shades of Alvin Kamara, another former Alabama running back. And yes, I know he went to Tennessee, but you get the gist. But yeah, I think the Eagles get, after losing Miles Sanders, they get their starting running back here. I think it's Jahmyr Gibbs. I like the Jahmyr Gibbs fit here.
Yeah, so here for 30 at Philadelphia, I have them taking Mozzie Smith out of Michigan. I think they're just it's this Philadelphia team. This Philadelphia team, after being able to bring back so many players that they did, I'm super. We're gonna eat this dub. With being able to bring back so many defensive players that they were able to, aside from Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, this. Other than safety, there's not much of a big hole they really need to fill. That Eagles team is just still pretty stacked, and I think they can fill in with Mozzie Smith, stop the run game. Their defensive line isn't getting any younger. There's a lot of old names on that team. There's a lot of old ages, and I think if they slide Mozzie Smith in there, they'll be able to continue and get the Super Bowl window still open a lot bigger.
With my pick, I had Bijan Robinson with their first pick. I have Osiris Torrance, the guard from Florida, going to the Eagles. You lost lost Isaac Sumalu, lost Nate Herbig now. Need to help fill up that offensive line, and offensive line is not getting any younger either.
Hope you know Nate Herbig also came from the Jets.
Well, before the Eagles, but still, I remember the Eagles in my head, man. That's all I remember.
I just had to be an asshole for a second.
I know.
No. We know.
Fuck you, Hunter. So number 30 for me, I have Philadelphia. I was getting ready to make a joke with Hunter. Roll Tide. And it's ironic that I say that because I actually have them going with Brian Branch from Roll Tide. CJ Gardner-Johnson left in free agency, and Terrell Edmonds he came there, but he's only there for a year. So he's going to be able to play that safety spot or that nickel corner spot. And he's going to be an immediate help for this defense in 2023. And like I've mentioned before in the first mock draft, he kind of reminds me, in a way, of Minkah Fitzpatrick. And for Philadelphia to get that kind of talent at pick number 30 with this defense, good luck.
Hey Herb, I don't want to be that guy, but is there a strip club in your little club room?
I turned my strobe lights on in my lamp.
I was like, whoa, wait a second.
So we have a couple comments here. First one from someone who says Bijan at 10 and Torrance at 30 would be the perfect draft for the Eagles. And then me and Hunter know our boy Tyler Hatcher. He says, let's go he says, "Let's go Browns." Good to see a Browns fan here.
Hell yeah, T-Hatch, baby.
Tyler, since I like you, I won't dog you, but it's still fuck the Browns, by the way.
That Epic Knives, that's my buddy Gavin. He's one of the co-hosts that I do with my podcast. He's a big Eagles fan.
Which, by the way, yes, we are. So obviously Renegade Roundtable is doing a live stream next week for the NFL draft. So is Herb. Herb, I'll let you plug yours in as well.
Yep. With the More Sports Police podcast, we're a lot smaller than the Renegade Roundtable, but we will be doing a draft podcast as well. Come by. I'll be doing shots every pick I get right. Same thing I did last year. So this one will be a lot more interesting because I have to work the next year or the next day. What's your idea?
No, you just gave me that idea.
Oh, to do shots for every pick I get right.
Oh God, next Thursday's gonna be fucking great.
Jeff, who are the Steelers taking here?
You'll be completely sober because you're gonna get 0 picks right. But
oh, really, Jeff?
Oh, really, Jeff? But yeah, so we are down to the final pick, number 31, the reigning defending Super Bowl champion, Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, so with the last pick in the first round, I have the Kansas City Chiefs trading this pick to the Arizona Cardinals for DeAndre Hopkins.
I thought you were getting ready to say Cleveland Browns.
No, I think the Chiefs trade this pick for DeAndre Hopkins. I think DeAndre Hopkins becomes a Chief on draft night. And so with the last pick, I have the Arizona Cardinals taking Darnell Wright, the offensive tackle. I think besides edge rusher, which the Cardinals get at 23, I think with their last pick in the first round, they get an offensive tackle, which is a position they desperately need as well to protect Call of Duty Master when he gets back. But for now, we'll see. But I think
you're getting all kinds of prestiges right now.
Yeah, man, no shit. But yeah, that's my prediction for last week. And that was my bold prediction that I was telling you guys about earlier for the draft. And I think DeAndre Hopkins becomes a Kansas City Chief.
So for Kansas City, I have them picking at 31. I have them going tackle DeJuan Jones. I think they see a guy who was just like who they had in Orlando Brown and select almost an identical copy in DeJuan Jones. Whether they slide him in at left tackle or move around and put him in at right, I do think that it's amazing to me how the Kansas City Chiefs are just so good because of Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, because there are a lot of holes on that team just filled in by either rookies or players that just somehow can pull it off in the end. But I think that this tackle here would be a great fit for Kansas City and basically get Orlando Brown Jr.
I basically, real quick on that, I do think he would end up playing right tackle because A, that's what he played at Ohio State, and B, because they also signed Jawan Taylor, who will play that left tackle slot. So I think he'll end up starting that right tackle. And having Jawan Taylor and DeJuan Jones as your bookends on that offensive line, Jesus Lord.
Yeah, and I went with Herb here. I also went with Jones here. Great fit for that right, for the Chiefs, just to win another Super Bowl probably, right?
You're wrong because the Steelers are winning their 7th.
I hope so, but I got to be realistic too.
I am being realistic. No, but here at number 31, I have the Kansas City Chiefs going after Quentin Johnston, the wide receiver from TCU. I also considered actually going with Jonathan Mingo here from Ole Miss, but for now I'm going to stick with Quentin Johnston here. You have Mahomes, you have Andy Reid. They'll just be able to throw out anyone. Hell, they could throw out Jarryd out there, wide receiver, and they'll make him good. But yeah, they get a 6'3" guy who's physical, and he's going to be able to make huge plays for them. I know a lot of people are kind of weary on him, but I think you put him in there with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Yeah, he'll end up being good for them.
Great.
So there you have it. There is the Renegade Roundtable Mock Draft 2.0 show. This was an absolute blast. This was very entertaining. First and foremost, again, Herb and Hunter, thank you so much for joining us. Obviously, Hunter will be on with me again. He is actually going to host the Renegade Roundtable Draft Show next week. He is the wannabe Rich Eisen. So,
is he going to run? Are you going to run, Hunter? Like Rich is going to do? Are you going to run
right now?
Oh, real quick. So, while we're talking about running, I might as well just say this story because I'll embarrass the shit out of myself, but it's okay.
Oh, yes. Are you telling what I think you're telling?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
So real quick. So we were at Hunter's house. This was back in 2020, so the COVID year. We were watching football. And me and my friend, outside of Hunter's house, we were running. We were running across the street. We ended up going down a race. Now, granted, I had a bucket of Buffalo Wild Wings in my hand. I start tumbling and I fall, do a front flip and everything, fall on my ass, bust my ass, but kept the chicken wings in my hand. They did not leave my hands.
Yeah, actually, I got a call. I got a call from Justin, and Justin told me to look out my front window. And I look out my front window and I look across the street, and Jeff is just sprawled out on the sidewalk.
I look like the one. I look
like a whale out of water.
No, what I looked like was the one dude from The Longest Yard, the character Joey Diaz plays. You assholes better not cut me. It's someone bring me a Diet Coke. That was me.
Oh man.
Oh boy.
Go Browns, baby.
But yeah, I do want to say again, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys did enjoy. Once again, next week we will be live here on the channel at 7:45. We are going to have a blast. We're going to analyze. We're going to react to every single pick of the first round. Again, also, I will say, what you should do is have two monitors, and you should flip flop between our podcast and Herb's, so you can watch both of our reactions at the same time. It's going to be an absolute blast next week. We've been waiting for this moment for a long time, and we're a week away. We're almost here, but. Until then, hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. Have a great weekend. And until then, peace out.
Go Browns.
Go Steelers.
Buda Baker is going to be a Steeler by night 2.
No, stop. Please.